Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's Sunday night. It's Liverpool 2, it's Brighton 1. It's an unbelievable weekend of results for Liverpool across the Premier League. I'm Gav, Keith, Shawnee, and Emma are with me. We're going to look back at that game and anything else you want to talk about in the chat. So if you have anything else you want to talk about, throw it in there and I'll see if I can read it out. If I remember, I remember. How does that sound? If you didn't get to see or listen to the post-match show, and there was Chris, there was Kev, there was Ashley, and there was Matt. That's available to watch or listen to on your podcast apps. You can go and do that. And as you know, we always do a little bit different here tonight. But I'm going to start with Emma. And Emma, I usually go to the end of the game, but I'm going to go to the start of it today because I think Arne Slot had every reason to consider subbing as many of them as he possibly could after, if not 20 minutes, definitely 30 and definitely fucking 45. It was a first half, Emma, that was, I thought was horrendous. But I want to give loads of credit to Brighton because I thought they were really quick on the ball. They got to the second ball, they moved the ball quick, they were brave. And Liverpool, not for the first time this season at home, have come into a home game where we go, we'll dictate the tempo. And when they don't dictate the tempo, they find it hard to get to that tempo. It was horrendous in the first half.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I said last week that I thought our first half against Arsenal was the worst. Now, and I'd like to caveat that I didn't see it in Nottingham Forest game, so I'm judging on what I've seen. But that yesterday is probably the worst Liverpool have played in the first half in about 7 or 8 years. They were absolutely dire. Now, you're right. Brighton were excellent, but I think we kind of gave them a little bit of a leg up the way there was no like. I don't want to sound like I'm echoing what Arne Slot said, but there was a lack of intensity when we were pressing from the front. There seemed to be the forward press, and then the two in midfield were too far behind. That left space for Brighton, and they basically took advantage of it. They were just playing balls into that space between the front four and the middle two, and turning and going at us with their front four. They were brilliant. Look, we were shit. They were brilliant, and it was a little bit concerning because. No, I didn't want to think it was like where we just have to show up. I think we're gone past that now, especially with teams like Brighton and how good they've been. But it was just a little bit concerning that they couldn't click into that gear. I know we'll probably speak about it a little bit later on about the atmosphere. I thought the atmosphere was shit in the first half. Everybody can talk about the atmosphere in the second half, and when Estupian leaves a bit in on Trent, and then all of a sudden the crowd come alive. Crowd should come alive from the start. Shouldn't be waiting for somebody to leave something on somebody to get the crowd going. But we just have to find a way of starting games the way we're starting second halves. Otherwise, like Slot said himself, we're gonna pay for it big time. And you come up against somebody that look, they should have been about 3 goals up come half time.
Yeah, I think
You
that's fair.
come up against somebody a little bit more clinical, and we've got City on the horizon coming up soon as well, and you could be going in 3-0 down, and that's you're never coming back from that. So
No, I agree with you. Shawnee, like we beat them in the League Cup during the week and we play a much changed side. We bring on a couple of subs and Salah and Nunez, I think, near the end. But we go into this one, we're after beating them during the week. There was no excuse, was there, really, for that first half, because like players had time off. They've had a decent run of games now. Every 2 or 3 days, but he's kind of left a load of them out there on whatever night it was, Wednesday night, and you're thinking, right, lads will be refreshed. We get into this, but it just smelled of a little bit of overconfidence, and that was probably down to the midweek results. That's what it felt like, a little bit of overconfidence, and that leads to what I mean is that leads to being that half yard off it and stuff like that. And that's what it was. That we were a half yard off and Brighton were right on it. Right at it.
No, I think to be honest with you, like it's a tale as old as time with them little like you see them little double headers pop up all the time. But again, it is coincidental, but they do pop up. There's loads of times when you play a team twice in a week, once in the cup game and once in the league game, and the two games are never ever the same. Now the result could be similar, but the games never ever pan out the same. And we were relatively comfortable midweek. Like I I thought we were worse in the first half against Forest yesterday. I thought we were worse in the first half against Arsenal than we were yesterday, to be honest. They just done a number on us. they done a number on us. I thought our shape was wrong. I thought our setup was wrong out the gap. I know there was a couple of before. I thought Alexis really struggled yesterday. But I just felt like Sabozlai was way too far up the pitch, and it was one pass out the back to that lad, Araya, is it? Is that his name? I'm probably
A
butchering his
yard,
name.
yeah.
What's his name? Sorry,
A yardie.
a Yardy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was running the show. He was running the show. We had no real answers for him, but we had chances as well in the first half. I thought. I didn't think it was. I didn't think we were as bad. And bearing in mind that it was. I'm at the being kind of dying sick the last couple of days, so I was lying here in the couch yesterday watching the game, going, "This isn't that bad. We get back into this," and I was relatively calm. I thought we were. I thought we were going to squeeze back into the game, but there was no way we were going to be as bad in the second half as we were in the first half. And that's just I didn't find like, and even when you watch back the game, I didn't think it was that bad at all. So maybe I'm different, like, but I see loads of people are giving out about me audio and sorting now in a minute. But
I'm only bastard, Johnny. Doesn't matter.
No.
If you fix your mic right, there'll be a shadow behind you on the wall, and they'll say, "Oh, that shadow was actually putting me off me dinner." So
yeah, do you know
if
what?
you can fix it, great.
You
But
know
if you
what?
can't,
Rammer up your hole the whole lot. You can just turn it away.
we're off early now. We're only what we 6 minutes in.
Hold on.
Johnny's had enough of us. Here we go.
No, I thought the setup was incorrect, and I thought there was a couple of sloppy performances to go out in between it. And I agree with Emmett as well. It can be a little bit frustrating, like that it does take something like that to get the crowd up. But at the same time, you have to give the crowd something to get excited about. And one of the things I was talking to Steve O'Daly yesterday, formerly of this parish, about the game, and one worry I had from watching Liverpool so far this season was I'd always wondered how we react when going a goal behind or how we play, because I think that sort of controlled style of football, it's not something that'd fill me confidence if you're chasing the lead. But then I seen a stat yesterday that the team last season in Europe that had most points behind Liverpool from winning possessions was Feyenoord, was actually Slot's Feyenoord. So they seem to do that quite a lot. And we definitely upped the intensity in the second half. And I have to be honest, to give all credit to Brighton, I thought they were brilliant. But they're not Brighton, aren't some little plucky underdogs anymore. And I love that Slot made a point out, just pointing it out this weekend in the press conference post and pre, saying that they've spent a lot of money. So they should be up there now. They spent a lot of money in the summer. They're a good team. I thought we got a little bit bullied yesterday in the fourth half, and we worked it out, and that's perfect.
Keith, you know, like, we could talk about Forest, we could talk about Arsenal in patches last week, because in patches last week, well, it's probably 25 to 45 against Arsenal. I thought we were poor. Against Forest, we weren't at the races, I felt, for the whole game. This one yesterday, when I say they're a yard off, Keith, it felt a bit disjointed. That's what it felt like, you know, like, I'm used to watching Liverpool, and Szoboszlai will go and press, and Núñez will back him up, and Salah and Diaz or Gakpo, and it's kind of all as a unit. We go and we press and we get at teams and stuff like that. Whereas yesterday it felt a bit disjointed. And look, I think we're all in agreement. I think everyone in the chat's in agreement. There was a poor first half in Liverpool, and you have to give Brighton plenty of credit. And yes, they've spent a good bit of money. I think they're probably an established top 8, top 9 Premier League side that are probably looking up rather than down. Now that could go back to haunt me. They could be 14th by the end of the season, but that's what they feel like to me. But Keith, like Slot says it. He says, look, at half time, he said, I could have subbed any of them off. Any of them. I just could have fucking subbed them off, because that's how bad it was. And he warned the team, don't go out and have another second half or another half like that, and indeed another second half like he did at Forest. And it did take a bit of a set to, I suppose, to wind the crowd up. But the difference from there on in, Keith, is fucking night and day. Like, Liverpool are snapping into things. They're taking control of the game. Brighton can't get out. The pretty stuff that they were doing in the first half just isn't coming off. And Liverpool just went, no, we've had a bad 45. This enough, and they just go and they put themselves on the game, and it's a huge 3 points, Keith. Like when you look at what's gone on around the league this weekend, Keith, it's a fucking huge 3 points.
Yeah, I think Jam G says it there. The atmosphere was affected. He thinks the atmosphere was affected by the City scoreline and the Arsenal result, and maybe there was a bit of added tension or pressure. You know what I mean? Because on paper, you're thinking Brighton at home, Liverpool should win that. But look, Brighton at home is never easy. You know, like you were at matches Brighton at home and Liverpool weren't beating them. You know, there's a good team there, and Shawnee's right. They have spent your man, Kadioglu's 30 million. They think they spent on him. Spent about 45 million on your man Reuter up front as well. So they are spending money, but they're a really good side. I thought they'd have maybe dipped because of the Zerbi. I'm not that I thought the Zerbi was any genius. I thought he was very good at what he done, but I didn't know what Herzl would be like for them. And they're a cracking team, you know. They set loads of traps for you. They try to catch you and break really fast, and they were catching us yesterday. I think the first half, I'm sort of half in agreement with Shawnee. I think it's maybe being overblown about, you know, there's been other games when we've been shit. I think Alexis, you won't find a bigger Alexis fan than me, and he was atrocious yesterday, and he had a passing percentage of 70% or 71%, and that's really low for a player like Alexis, because while he's never going to be a 98% passer, because he makes forward passes. He tries to make things happen with his passing, but he's usually in around the late 80s, early 90s. He's down at 70, so he just was sloppy with the ball. If he's sloppy with the ball, we're not getting going. So Bosley was playing too far away, so there was that disjointment with the midfield that we couldn't get going. But all it took was that little rattle and the crowd got lifted. And then Liverpool were on top. And when Liverpool got on top, you know, I think that was the key. I don't think we were looking like we were going to really lose it from there. And when you get the 2 goals so quickly together, that sucker punch as well, I think it just helps that Liverpool went out there and done the business. I'm liking the fact that Slot has come in. We're a bit more shy to watch. Do you know what I mean? We're not as exciting to watch, and I can live with that. You know, I can take that if it's going to be getting scores on the doors. And I just think this Liverpool team, still a work in progress. It's not the finished article, and we're going to have games where we're not going to blow teams apart. It took Jurgen Klopp a long time to get, you know, that perfection that he got. And it's going to take Slot a while to get where he got, because I think we have to remember the shit that he's taken and Liverpool have taken, right? So it was originally Liverpool won't be able to challenge at all, or will struggle for top 4 because Arne Slot, who was he, right? So he comes in, does really well, and then it's that they haven't played anybody. You know, wait till they play people. Well, now they're playing teams and they're getting positive results, you know, play Chelsea, beat them, drew at Arsenal away. Brighton, tricky game. You know, we've other hard games coming up. I don't fear any of the hard games coming up, because I think Slot is answering the questions as and when they're coming. He's learning, you know, he's learning on the job, and I think that's huge, and I think it's brilliant to see. I just think, you know, as Slot himself said, he was told there's no easy games, but then he's getting told about all these easy games, and then you see what's happening with the other teams, the likes of Bournemouth. When we beat Bournemouth, we were told that's just Bournemouth. They're taking scalps all over the shop since then. So, you know, there's going to be hard games. I think Slot doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I think people are starting to maybe come around to the fact that he's a bit of a serious operator. And I just love that we're proving them wrong. Will we maintain this? I don't know, but we cannot ask for more. We're talking about Nottingham Forest. That's the blip. Do you know what I mean? And if that's the blip, they're third in the league. Are they still third after today?
4th, I think.
Like, they're not a shit team. At the time, it felt like the world was opening up and we were falling in. They're a good team. They're going in 4th in the league. You know, they're a quality side that you wouldn't have thought. So, look, we just have to go out there and keep getting the performances, keep getting the results. The more results you get, maybe the performances will increase. We're not going to be perfect every week, but I can live with that. And I just hope that the likes of Kanate, it looks pretty good for him, that we can get him back. But I want to say, Joe Gomez, what a player. Do you know what I mean? He comes in from the cold and he slots in like he's never been out of that team. And look, we need players to do that. We can't have players sulking. I'm not worried about Kwanzaa's future at Liverpool, don't get me wrong. He had a bad mistake during the night against Brighton, so I can understand why Gomez got brought in. And if that has to be the case for the next while, if Gomez is the next in line, happy days. There should never be an entitlement that Kwanzaa done really well last year. He's the next one if Kanate goes down. You play the lads who are in form and you build your squad that way. I just want everyone to row in, and hopefully everyone rows in behind what Slot is doing, because I think there's a chance. That league is not great. That league is not as good as it has been over the years, and I think there's a chance for us to just keep motoring and see where we can end up at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think, I'm just thinking about it now, and a few people in the chat have mentioned, letting other teams have the ball can be difficult to watch at times. And I think Liverpool. I've seen 3 stages of Liverpool this season. One where they're really on the front foot, and they're penning teams in, and then you see other ones like Chelsea at home where they go, "You can have the ball if you want, and then we'll do damage to you." And the third one is where I think sometimes you get caught in between these two, where they're not trying to pin a team in and they're not trying to give a team a ball. Do you get me? So they get caught between something that they're doing. That's probably the hardest one to do, I suppose, measured in what you're doing with regards to pressing and stuff. And I think they got caught between that yesterday. Whereas, they probably have to learn how to do a bit more. Press, but know when to drop. Press with knowing to drop. And then do a bit of dropping off. And like early in the season, I kept noticing how when a team got a chance against us, we just got the ball and kept it for 5 minutes and went, all your momentum is gone now. We're resetting this game immediately. And I think that didn't happen with us yesterday because Brighton continuously got chances to get at us. But the second half is just a different story altogether. And Emma, a lot of people have mentioned, and we will go through players in a bit, but a lot of people have mentioned the subs make a huge difference. Kanate has to go off. Reports are that he's a couple of stitches in his arm, maybe. I think I read. He's okay. He's had a scan. He's fine. He said he'd be ready for the next game, so thank God for that. Joe Gomez comes on and people are like, wow, would it not have been Kwanzaa, next in line? But Joe Gomez comes on, who I thought, by the way, was fantastic when he comes on. And that's what a professional footballer is meant to be. Comes in, it's seamless, and he was brilliant. But the subs make a huge difference, Emma, because it just brings a tempo to us. I think Jones brings a tempo. Diaz definitely brings a tempo. We look more threatening. And we just decided, no, we're not getting the fucking ball anymore. We're going at you now, and let's see how you deal with it. And it was, like I said earlier, night and day. Subs, huge.
Yeah, I mean, the minute they came on, you could see how intense, or how our intensity increased. They were pressing like mad. Jones is involved in the first goal, isn't he? He's involved in the Salah second goal. Picks it up on the edge of his own box. Diaz is snapping into tackles, putting them under pressure. Stuff that we didn't see in the first half. But you could see that the tempo rose. Throw in that, go back to the Estupian and Trent and stuff like that. That gets the crowd up. I was listening to the Anfield rap earlier on. They said there was a point in that, like, where the crowd was feral, and it said Anfield hasn't been feral in a long time. And somebody else said that it felt like nearly like Barcelona in the Champions League. It was that mad. People ended up 2 and 3 rows away from where they originally standing.
It reminded me of the time Arteta had a go at Anfield.
Yeah.
Remember when it was Mane went up for a header?
Yeah,
and Arteta melted out of him, and Liverpool just went, well, fuck you. And the crowd just went mental, and they just went, not a hope here. And he's regretted it ever since, I think.
But
I was at the Fulham game last year. Sorry for coming across you.
Yeah.
The Fulham, the 4-3. And it was a little bit like that in the Fulham game when we turned it around. We got 2 quick goals at the end. Crackers, Endo and Trent scored. And it was that sort of seemed that same buzz about it.
I said that yesterday when I was in the chat for the post match, that it felt very like Fulham, and that's probably the last time you maybe saw the crowd like that. But the injection of pace intensity from Jones and Diaz was the turning point. I think we weren't snapping into tackles or anything. I just had that feeling, and I know we've probably spoken on here about it earlier on in the season. Sometimes we just can be a little bit too nice. We were losing every 50-50. We were losing every first ball, every second ball. And then we just I don't want to say things started falling for us. We started winning the 50-50s with the higher intensity. And then I always thought if we get one, we're going to get two here. And then two come along in 2 minutes. So unbelievable.
Shawnee, it's it's one of those game of two halves and all that, and everyone says that, but it really is that. But a couple of players I want to touch on. I've mentioned it before. Joe Gomez hasn't seen much football this season. Was assessing his options before this, which you remember about a possible move away from Liverpool. He's been quoted this weekend. Well, I've seen a quote written, it mightn't be from this weekend, but I've seen it this weekend, basically saying that the club means the world to him. But for him to come in there, he plays during the week in the League Cup, but he comes in there, we're a goal down, we're struggling. He's coming in at centre half. It would have been, not easy, but you would have went, you know what, that's a fucking horrible situation to throw him into when we're struggling this badly. But I actually thought he was so fucking good, and he was so positive in everything he done. He trusts his pace and all that time, but I just thought he was so positive, and he was getting not him on his own, but we're getting up the pitch, and he played a huge part, I felt, in the intensity Liverpool brought in the second half, and I thought it was a difficult position for him to come into, or a difficult situation.
Yeah, he was immense. To be honest with you, I'm absolutely delighted for Joe Gomez. He's the longest serving player now at the club, still here. And I've seen the interview you're talking about, and do you know what? It's lovely to hear something like that, because, like, similar to Kelleher, I think Gomez is probably a type of player who could probably have a bee in his bonnet with the club in terms of going, okay, how do you view me? And I should be on out and playing football, because I think if Joe Gomez is at any other Premier League club, he's probably playing regular football, and he's a starter for England there, going to tournaments, because I think with rhythm he can be a top centre half. That being said, his performances last year at centre half probably left a lot to be desired. When he did fill in there, I thought he was a way better deputy at left back, and he clearly doesn't want to be that. But yeah, he was absolutely brilliant, and I wasn't surprised that it wasn't Kwanzaa instead of him, because I think there's an element of Arne Slot now probably trying to protect Gerald Kwanzaa a little bit, because similar to the other reaction of Kwanzaa during the week, I actually didn't think he was that bad, but I think putting him into that position yesterday where we're losing, if he makes a mistake like that, then it could be detrimental to the lad. But Gomez was brilliant yesterday. He nearly scores twice as well, which would have been fucking great. If he had got that goal to go back in, I think they probably would have been bleeding, had to do more renovation work on Anfield. I think the place would have come off its bleeding foundations. But now, do you know what? I'm delighted for Joe Gomez. You look back at 1920 and how good he was for that first 5-6 months of the season before the injury. He was fucking immense. He was every bit as good as Virgil in that side. And although it doesn't look like it's a bad one for Konate and how brilliant he's been, I actually wouldn't mind to see Gomez get a little run on the team now, because I think cameos like that deserve it. And I love how Slot references lads like this coming in and performing to that level as well. Endo, I think we were all nearly, I think 99% of us were sure that Endo was just a done thing in this system, and there was probably no room for him at all anywhere. But you seen how effective he could be yesterday. I thought he was brilliant coming in, just winning dirty ball, nicking it away, just being there in the right place at the right time. He's the only real natural number 6 we have at the club, and I'm just delighted for players like that actually featuring. It's not like they're completely useless, but yeah. Gomez, absolutely delighted for him. A player I'd love to see put a run together and get his form up and running, because there's question marks around the field at the moment of the club, but it wouldn't surprise me if Gomez is playing his last season at Liverpool, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's fucking. He was brilliant. He was absolutely excellent. Like you said, everything was positively done. It wasn't. He didn't look panicky come in. His distribution was great. He won a lot of ball in both boxes. Yeah, I was delighted with him.
It's I agree with you on Kwanzaa. I think bringing Kwanzaa into that situation where I don't think he has I don't think he has a terrible game at Brighton, but he's he has that thing at Ipswich, which I think is a bit overplayed, but it is what it is. And I think yeah, he's a couple of mistakes away at Brighton, and he's probably just in that stage where a little bit low on confidence maybe, but that'll come. I think he's such a fucking good player, Quanta. But to see when you have an issue with an 18, 19-year-old centre half, when you see Joe Gomez, who's now 27, 28 years of age, coming in and just doing his job. And I think one of the big things was always thrown at Joe Gomez was really decent in the air, really good along the ground. He can distribute a ball, but is he physical enough? Is he dominating enough? And I think he showed yesterday slightly different side to his game. I think he was dominating, and I think Kev said it earlier. When Trent starts to invert in the second half, Joe Gomez just dominates everything around him, and says, and I just think it was huge from Keith. The other sub coming on is Curtis Jones. Does really, really well with the second goal. To start that off and get it back and play at the Salah and stuff like that. But again, one thing people throw at Curtis Jones is, does he move the ball quick enough? Does he pick the right timing of a pass? There's one there at Chelsea at home where he takes 2 or 3 touches before he puts Salah in for that Gakpo disallowed goal. Just give him the ball, Curtis. But yesterday, Keith, you seen him there yesterday, and he was moving the ball fast. He was moving at the right time. He was doing his work. And he just injected something into a midfield that a lot of people are saying 1 or 2 probably need a rest in. And we just need to keep this form coming out of him, don't we? Where we can throw him in and start him for 3 or 4 games in a row in any of those 3 positions and say, you can do that job. But I think every time I see Curtis Jones now, I think, yeah, the timing is coming. The quickness is coming. He's building to something. I believe he's building to something. I'm probably way too optimistic on him, but I feel he is.
Yeah, look, 100% pass accuracy yesterday, for any of the stats geeks out there. And I think it's been something that's been consistent in his game lately, is he is protecting the ball. Now, I know people say, yeah, he takes too much, but I think he's good in the deeper role as well. He would have always been considered maybe an attacking type of midfielder, or a midfielder who can play out in one of the wide areas if we need to. But I think coming from deep, he's able to get you from A to B quickly. Now that he's just carrying the ball, he's moving it, he's getting us up the pitch. I think he comes in for unfair criticism. People disagree with that, but look, everyone's entitled to an opinion on Curtis Jones. I just can't understand why we would be always have to have a scapegoat. We always have to have a scapegoat. And I'll put my hand up and say I thought Tsimikas is not good enough for the team, and I thought he played very well yesterday as well. So you can have an opinion on something, and you can change your opinion as well. And I think if you're looking at Curtis Jones now in the last, I think he's been improving year on year. But if you look at him in the last while and you still think he's not good enough for this Liverpool team, whether that be as a starter or as an injection coming in when we need that bit of pace or we need that bit of ball protection, I just think he's excellent. I think he's brilliant for the squad. I think he's going to become a first 11 player regularly, if not this year. I think next year. I think he's on that trajectory to be such a strong player for Liverpool. And I just think, again, I'll go back to McAllister. He comes on for McAllister, and I'm a huge McAllister fan. If McAllister's not doing the business and Curtis Jones is doing the business, you swap them out, and it's as simple as that. And there can be no bullshit about it. And you don't die on the hill that, Alexis won the World Cup, or Alexis this, Alexis that. Jones, if he deserves to be in that team, I want to see Jones in that team. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. I think Liverpool, again, we keep going back to it. People think, someone in the chat earlier, I forgot to flag the name, think that we don't have the midfield depth. At the moment, we don't have a lot of players in there, but Curtis Jones is stepping up and being the sort of the very capable next man in line, whether it be to replace Gravenberg, whether it to be replace McAllister, or whether it to be replace Szoboszlai. And I think to have a player like that can go into any of them 3 positions and not let the team momentum drop or the playing ability drop. I think it's a very, very hard thing to do. And I think he's doing it excellently. So I'm glad to see that he gets his flowers now. And, long may it continue, because he's a really good player, and he just gets a lot of unnecessary stick. But I suppose we always have to have a scapegoat, don't we?
Yeah. The other sub to come on around the same time, Emma, is Luis Diaz. And if he's not going to bring, if nothing else he's going to bring you, it's going to be intense. He's going to press. He's going to look to be busy. And he does all that, And I think marrying that in with the other players around him, I just think it caused. I'm not saying Liverpool just went, it's all hectic and mayhem and see what happens. I don't think it was that. But I think the ingredients there with the changes he makes means that it has to be quick. These players just naturally play quick. Diaz isn't a slow the ball down fella. Salah wants to be running off people or running in behind people or running at people. Nunes is Nunes. And in fairness, I think Jones, if you sat him down and asked him, I think he might want to play that Szoboszlai role, the furthest forward in the tree, where he's actually getting to affect games in that area of the pitch an awful lot more. But the changes make a huge difference. And Gakpo gets the first goal. I thought it was actually Nunes when it went in, but it's Gakpo gets the first goal. And there's a little bit of fortune to it, the ball in, and it just kind of misses everyone, goes in the far corner. But then straight away, Emma, we're on it, and I'm just dying to get to the second goal. I'm going to be honest with you. The second goal is brilliant because we win it. We play. Jones picks the right pass at the right time to give Salah just that 2 or 3 yards where he can get at a defender rather than a defender being right on him. And it's a fucking brilliant finish again.
It's like his trademark goal, isn't it? Like it's Chelsea a couple of years ago, Roma. Just
Bologna a few weeks ago.
If you go back and you listen to it, when he wrong foots a stupid man, the crowd basically nearly start cheering before he even hits the thing. They know what's coming. But yeah, it's an unbelievable. Like, it's still picking up pace as it hits the back of the net. Like, he absolutely wellies it. And the place, like we said earlier on, just absolutely erupts. But it's what we deserved. Like, all four of the front players on. I know Kev said that we've tried that in the past. Klopp tried it in the past, didn't really come off. I think it came off once or twice against City. He loved doing it against City. Firmino, Jota, Salah and Mane. But to have all 4 of them on, you don't know where any of them are going to pop up. Diaz was popping up on the right, popping up on the left, down through the middle. It was just, like you said, I wouldn't say it was just all uncontrolled. There was a purpose to it. And they were sent on to basically press. And that was what upped the intensity. Move the ball a little bit quicker. Again, I'm not going to go back with Jones. Jones, I think he's more of a McAllister replacement than a Szoboszlai replacement, if I'm being honest. I just think he's probably, like Keith says, probably better in the deeper role. I think McAllister probably would want to come out, but should come out of the team, maybe for a match or two. I think he's still injured. I think somebody else said it there as well, since picked up an injury before going away on international duty. Didn't play the first game, plays the second. Hasn't been right since he came back. Yeah, just give him a look. We're in a great position here now where we can afford to do this. Take the player out, put Jones in. I don't think anybody would bat an eyelid if they saw Jones in the starting lineup over any of the three. I know we don't have a massive depth, but to take one out and give them a break every now and again, I don't think it's not going to make a massive difference. To go back and talk about Konate going off, Arsenal lost a centre back last week, and all of a sudden that's the reason why we got back into the game. We went on and won that game yesterday. So you have to be able to roll with the punches, and that's what we've done in the past, and we're doing it again. But in terms of the changes, and Salah's goal, like even his celebration, the more I look at it, I think someone was saying something to him from the crowd, because he's like eyeballing somebody in the crowd. If you look at him, it's like he's staring at somebody when he's celebrating. It's like somebody had said something to him. Come on, Mo, get the finger out, whatever. And he goes and scores that and basically put that in your pipe and smoke it, is what he's saying. But yeah, look, it's brilliant. I just wish I had been there. I've only ever seen them draw with fucking Brighton.
Shawnee, I'm gonna ask this question, and it'll probably fucking run us for about an hour if we keep messing with it. But Salah scores yesterday, and I was out last night. I was talking to an Arsenal fan last night, and he turned around to me and he said, "I think Mo Salah is possibly the best player to ever play in the Premier League." Right? Now, this is from an Arsenal fan, and I went, "What about Henry?" He went, "Henry, unbelievable, unfucking believable." He said, "But the work rate that man gets through, and the position predominantly where he plays, and the goals he has, and the assists he has, and the big goals and big games, he thinks he might be the best." And that was from an Arsenal fan. He surely ranks up there. He has to, for any of this day. He has to. And I know we do this every fucking 2 or 3 months, but it's just the goal. I suppose probably more coming into focus because of the contract situation and stuff like that. But he's just fun. The numbers are just mind blown, and he just keeps doing it. And even when he's morphing into a different player, Shawnee, he's still doing it because he is morphing into a different player for me.
Yeah, look, listen. The numbers speak for themselves. All the records speak for themselves. I think another Premier League title would put him on the Mount Rushmore of the Premier League, I reckon, in terms of what he's done. Yeah, look, listen. His post yesterday has me up the wall after the game. But I don't know what more he has to do to get a contract or to sign. He obviously wants to stay at Liverpool, but he's the most clutch player Liverpool have had in the Premier League era, I'll say that much. And I think in years down the line, when all these shows are around and people are picking Premier League all-time 11s, he's going on the right wing. He's going on the right wing in nearly every single one of them. I guarantee you that now. He's a fucking phenomenal football player. Like you said, he's more of a creator now. It was nice to see him get a few fouls as well yesterday off a ref.
Yeah.
For
Very
getting
rare.
the jockey back off the fullback. Look,
That player had 8
Arsenal
fouls
fans will
yesterday
big
as
up.
well. No booking.
Arsenal fans will big up Henry, and
Rightfully
United
so.
fans will bring up Giggs or however else they want to bring up. But clutch moments, goals. Mao's been here, done it all at Liverpool. Scored Champions League finals, big league games. Memories that last your lifetime. A 30 goals a season player. Now, normally it used to be a 20 goals a season player, a 30 goal a season player. Just absolutely fucking phenomenal. And dug us out as well. There was the season, one of my favourite Mao seasons is the year when we'd no centre backs, and he dragged us over the line in terms of getting us back into the top 4. And you seen him say there yesterday, the top is where Liverpool belong. The thing that's worrying me most now is that if he doesn't sign a contract with Liverpool in the summer, he'll be playing in the Premier League for someone else next year.
I think that as well.
There's not a chance that fella is ready to go play football in Saudi Arabia or anywhere else.
And there's records to be broken, isn't there, on that list?
And I'm telling you now, Man City will be putting up money for him. Chelsea will be putting up money for him. Newcastle will put up money for him. Any of them will. They'll pay him more than we're willing to pay him. And I'm telling you that now. I'm not saying that to fucking scare anyone. He's still that good. He's way too good to be thinking about going to Saudi Arabia. He's an elite player, still operating at a top level. We're talking about yesterday how that's vintage Mo. Vintage, he's still doing it. He's still fucking doing it. So I hope and I pray he signs another deal, because I think one more big deal at Liverpool and he breaks every other record that he has to do in the Premier League. In terms of, he'll get 200 Premier League goals for Liverpool, which would put him within touching distance of the likes. Like, I don't think anyone will ever break Shearer's record or that, but he could go on to do mega things.
I think he could. Oh, I think he could get the second in that with a contract extension. I think second is very, very feasible. Harry Kane has 213 goals. Mohamed Salah has 164. I mean, what's that? 34, less than 50 goals. You know, if he signs a 2-3 year deal, you'd expect that he might be able to get
I
himself
just,
a
you
couple
know
of
what,
goals
I just,
back, and that's
I don't know
phenomenal.
what, I don't know what the whole up is, and I don't really, because I hope you wouldn't, I hoped you wouldn't talk about contracts, and I'm at to bring it up. It's the only thing this whole season where it's like the fucking, you're looking at the weather forecast, and you can see that there's rain coming down the line.
Yeah.
It's
the Grim Reaper in the background, isn't it?
It is, you know, it's the fucking proverbial elephant that hasn't left the room yet, and it's November now. So
But I think
it's just, it's what, like, I feel, this is the last thing I'll say on it for this show. I think with Salah and Virgil, I think the longer it goes on, I actually think the better, to be honest with you. I'd be more confident the longer they drag on. Trent, I don't know, I just hope it's a case where you put, from your Liverpool glasses, Trent sees sense, and just he's not going to get the reverment at Madrid like you will here. But and the other side of it is, I don't think I'd envy anyone for wanting to go play for Real Madrid, to be honest. I really, really hope it's put off. To end on a positive, Slot said the other day that they were all in a good place and the discussions were still ongoing. So I hope it can be put to bed, because I can't think of the mountain of work that it's going to.
I'd rather be put.
place.
I'd rather be put to bed, Shawnee, before the 34th of December. Whether it's going to be they're going or they're staying. I genuinely would, because I think if it gets beyond January or into January 1st and beyond that, I think what you're going to have is it's just going to be, oh, here's Virgil van Dijk playing for him. Who is he going to sign for next season? You know, and it'll just be a complete and utter distraction.
His last game at the Etihad.
Yeah,
this
and
could be his last game here. This could be his last game there.
But you know what it is? I think as a football club, if they're in a really good position going into January, whether or not these players are staying or not, and like Jono's in the chat there going like, what the fuck is going on? Why can't we get this done? I'm with you. Get it fucking done. But we don't know what's going on here. We don't know what the demands are from both sides. We simply don't. And in fairness, all the players have come out and said, look, what will be. You know, they're not giving anything away. Nobody's giving anything away. But just a question on Emma. I'll come to you first. She's gonna have a go if you want. But we talk about Salah and how highly rated he is by Liverpool. And I think it's starting to get around. You know, because people are quite tribalistic and they go, oh no, fucking Eden Hazard, would you ask me, bollocks, right? But Emma, would signing a contract, even if he doesn't score the 50 goals to surpass Harry Kane, but does signing the contract to bring him to 35 actually cement his place as an all-time Liverpool great, regardless of what happens in the next 2 or 3 years? The fact that at this stage where he could go and get mega money somewhere, still in really, really good nick, still scoring loads of goals, still clutch as Shawnee calls him, the fact that if he signs his deal and literally commits his career, the remainder of his career to Liverpool, that immediately cements him where they go. Well, when they're talking Dalglish and they're talking Souness and they're talking Gerrard and they're talking Hansen, they're talking Mo Salah. And I think that contract might just seal it for him. Although no contract.
I think it's sealed. I think it's sealed already.
Yeah.
What I would say is if what Shawnee thinks is true, if he ends up going to some other Premier League team, that might take the shine off it a small bit. I think it all depends. I think he's one of Liverpool's greatest ever players already. It probably cements it even more if he signs a contract. Because he goes on and he beats records. He's only 11 off Henry. Like you said, he's only 50 off Harry Kane. He does that in 2 seasons. Easy if he stays. But I just think it all depends on what his next move is. So I think what I've heard is the Mo and Van Dijk want 3 years. The club are only offering 2. That's what the talk is. I didn't hear any mention of any money or anything like that. It's more the length of contract. I don't know what the crack is with Trent. I've not heard anything. But Salah is a legend. That's cemented. I just think it depends on where he goes next. Does he go MLS? Does he go? I don't think he goes to Saudi. Like he still would be good friends with Mane and Bobby. And everybody wants out of Saudi. Nobody wants to be going to Saudi. So I don't think that's even on his radar. Do any of the likes of a Real Madrid or anybody like that put in for him, or a Barcelona? I don't know. I don't think so. But he goes as long as Messi and Ronaldo. Guaranteed. Like he looks after him. So you see him like he's chiseled. But he lives a good life. I would happily give him the 3-year contract. I'd still think he's still doing numbers in 3 years' time.
Yeah, I think like I said, we don't know what's going on. 2 years, 3 years. Do you do 2 with an option of one extra if targets are met and stuff like that? There could be something like that. But like literally, none of them are playing around in public, and the club aren't playing around in public. So if you had players' agents leaking little bits here and there, you'd be going, they're asking for this, and the club are acting the bollocks. Like, and we know Salah's agent likes to do it, and he hasn't opened his fucking mouth, this fella.
I think he got his wrist slapped the last time.
Yeah, he may have, but listen, he's nothing to fucking lose here. If he thinks Salah's on his way out of Liverpool, he's nothing to lose. He can say whatever the fuck he likes, because he'll know there's no coming back here. We want that. They're not.
Maybe the fact that he's not saying anything.
I think the fact that nobody's saying anything would at a guess would tell you that it's still going on. There's probably things to iron out, and I still think the 3 players were looking, going, let's see how it fucking goes here, because if I sign a fucking 3-year extension with Liverpool and it's not going well, I could be fucking here for 2 years, or I don't want to be here. And you can talk about loyalty all you want, and you can talk about loves of the club and everything, but players, especially when they come to that part of their career, they know they haven't got long left, and they want to maximise everything they can possibly do in the game. And look at Ronaldo, look at Messi. They could have given up at 35, man. Listen, we go down as 2 of the greatest of all time, and they're still going, both of them, because one won't give up against the other. Do you know what I mean? Messi will be 60 and fucking Ronaldo will be 62, and the cunts will be still playing somewhere, because that's just the way they are. Do you know what I mean? So you have to maximise everything in what you want to do in the last few years of your career, and I'm okay with that. But I as a distraction for the best for the players and club, I think something needs to happen here, and it definitely needs to happen before December 31st. Because if we get into he's allowed to sign for anyone, like they could be playing Real Madrid in the quarter final and be like, this is an audition now to see if Real Madrid will sign this player. All this, what's going to happen. But I just think every time I watch Salah, I just think, fucking hell, and Van Dijk and Trent, I just go, it makes no sense not to fucking put contracts on the tables for these lads. It really doesn't. And if it means you have to pay more people some more money down the line, fair enough. But you're probably paying them more because they're performing well in a side that contains these 3 lads. You know what I mean? They're literally the backbone of your squad. They really are. So we'll see how it goes. We had this
conversation the last time Salah was thinking about whether he was signing a contract or not, and it costs you a hell of a lot more to try and replace him than it would be just give him the contract.
100%. And
if you certainly with the trade him, like the fact that you've got the doomsday scenario was to trade him, go for free, and you're talking about 3 of our 4 top iconic players in the squad, along with Alisson. Maybe they're the ones that were there through the leagues and Champions League, that sort of stuff. The Klopp era, they're the stalwarts of it, and to lose 3 of them in one go would be a huge issue for the club. There's no positive spin you can put on it. There's no PR you can do. Simon Omar Marmoush is not going to bleed cushion the blow of losing Mohamed Salah, as far as I'm concerned. And not to say he wouldn't be a good addition if it did happen. He's a cracking player. He's tearing it up. He plays for Frankfurt. He's top scorer in the Bundesliga. We're heavily linked with him at the moment. But, there's no spin you can put on this to be positive. I think I said before that, I think the club have been caught short on this when Klopp announced he was going. But they have to act. They have to act. They can't quibble over the 2 or the 3 year, now that Emmett's in the know, 2 to 3 year contracts. If that's what they want, the extra year, give them the year. These players have earned it. These players have done everything that they wanted, that we wanted them to do. And in other circumstances, I would say these players owe us nothing. And if they want to go, they go with your blessing. You shake a hand, pat on the back, thanks for everything. but not three of them at the same time.
No.
And that is the killer. Not three of them at the same time.
No, and to be honest with you, like if you give Trent 5 years and you give, which is fair enough, right? Yeah, I think it'd be more money with Trent, and that's not a slight at Trent. I think he's looking for his big contract at 25, 26 or whatever he is now, and he deserves it. You know what I mean? He absolutely deserves it. With these lads here, if they're on the same money but they're looking for 3 rather than 2, if you give them the 3 and they're not performing after 18 months, they'll know themselves. And they won't, if they're not on the side, they'll say, I'm not fucking sitting here. No matter what, they've all the money in the world. So they'll end up turning around going, listen, it's all right if I go with a year to go because I want to go and play some football. And that's the other side of it you have to look at. If they do perform, who gives a fuck what age they are in 2 or 3 years' time if they're still performing? But I still think something needs to come of this in the next, well, definitely in the next 6 weeks, it has to. Shawnee, looking at the rest of the league, over the weekend, you see Arsenal getting beaten at Newcastle, City get beaten at Bournemouth. Of course, we beat Brighton. Villa get beaten at Spurs. Forest win. Still going, fair play to them. It was a really good weekend for Liverpool, wasn't it? And, you know, it's a tough run of games we have, but when you look, I think Leverkusen during the week, Villa up at home next Saturday night, and then it's the international break. And I think it's a real pep in Liverpool's step to come out of that game yesterday with a victory and then look at what's going on around you. And you're 7 ahead of Arsenal, you've gone 2 ahead of City. And will Liverpool be looking to say, right, let's just win this next league game because we've City coming up in, you know, a couple of league games. It was just so fucking big. I thought it was so big when I seen them results yesterday.
Yeah, and when the scores were coming in real time, you were thinking, Jesus Christ, City and Liverpool are going to let Bleeding Arsenal off the hook here. City went 2-0 down and we were still 1-0 down at that stage. And then 2 goals in quick succession. You're thinking, fuck, this is huge. That's turning into a huge final 15 minutes. I just think it's so key if you want to do anything in the league against Man City that whenever they do drop points, you're capitalising. So, and we did just that. I'm not really worried about anyone else because you know when it gets to the thick of it, who you're going to be up against. But in the grand scheme, it's perfect because literally the way that the fixtures lined up this week, Chelsea against United, Spurs against Villa, and Newcastle, Arsenal, you're all thinking these are probably teams who in the back end of the season will be looking to push into top 4, and you're putting points on the board against them as well. So yeah, I think it's the perfect weekend. I love 3 o'clock Saturdays because you're just kind of in the mix and you can go about your business, and then again on a day like yesterday when you win your game, you can just sit down today and enjoy the football. So yeah, it was a job well done. In the end, they pulled it out of the bag, and you put look, it's only 3 points. It's 3 points for the win, but you're putting numbers on the board. We still haven't played anyone yet, according to everyone else.
Yeah.
So if you can go through the next 3 quarters of the season without playing anyone, I think we might be all right then, won't we? Because that's how far we are in now. And you always say that 10 games in is kind of the magic barometer. But for me, it's all positive. I actually think there's gears to go for Liverpool. Like Keith said, it is a work in progress. I think Elliot coming back will be welcomed back into the squad. Obviously, we'll have Jota back, and hopefully we see some sort of cameo from Chiesa in the games coming up.
Sorry, just the word on Chiesa is that he won't be back.
He's going to train over the international.
Yeah, he's basically doing a pre-season.
Yeah,
that's basically what he's doing.
Look, that we all know what that signing was when we made it, so I'm not going to kind of get too upset over it. But yeah, no, so far so good. I think we're not getting any real. Like I listen to the thing that Gary Neville does after every Super Sunday, the Gary Neville podcast with your man who over dramatised Peter Drury, and Liverpool didn't even get a mention, and I'm happy for it to go that. I'm happy for it to be that way, you know. Like I think we'll just keep doing what we're doing. I think there's I'm really, 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 really impressed by Arne Slot and the start. I think I said this after 3 games. I said I hope I'm not going too early, but the more I see him, the more he just, in a different way, the club he gets it, and he's sort of the calm that you need after the frenzy that
A
was
bit of
Jurgen
emotion
Klopp.
yesterday you liked after the game.
Yeah, no, just a little fucking. There was I don't know whether anyone else noticed it, but at full time yesterday, there's normally a clapper away, but there was a little fucking. There was one of them to the
A
cup,
little
and the
fist, yeah.
crowd reacted like, you know what I mean. It was a little bit like fucking a shake of the fist, as if to say, "What fucking, we're in this there." And he referenced it yesterday after the game how he was blown away by the crowd and how they pulled him over the line when they needed it. He's playing a fucking blinder. I love listening to him.
Yeah.
I love listening to him speak. He's not a waffler. There's no bullshit with him. He's so monotone, and when someone is speaking truth in a monotonous way, you could literally sit there and listen to them all day. I actually think the media really like him. I think he's handling all that side really well. He's just going about his business, to be honest with you, and it's perfect. And I don't know whether you've seen the podcast. There was a lad on. I don't know. I actually don't even know who the geezer is, but he talked about a conversation he had with Trent about.
Oh, that was Simon Rimmer, was it?
Yeah. He talked about a conversation he had with Trent and how Trent was blown away by small details and how he was expecting them fucking slot to skin him alive, but no, it was on the farm. Look, he's flying. He's absolutely flying, and it's just it's one of them like you're looking at the LFC are whacking up the fixtures for November. We're flying so far. It'd be great to get a result now midweek against Leverkusen and then bounce into the Villa game and go into the last international break. Really going gung-ho over the Christmas. So yeah, look, 10 games in. This is the start of the season where you take stock for the first time. And I think he's fucking flying colours. It comes to mind. I think we're absolutely flying. And I actually enjoy the brand of football we play, to be honest with you. I know it's not for some people, but I'm really enjoying it, yeah. So, like we were told after Klopp, it won't be the same, but it doesn't mean it can't be great. And the early signs are very, very good.
It's Keith. How much? Look, it's only like people will say it's only 3 points. It's a big 3 points for Liverpool in the terms of how the game went and stuff like that. You know, if we're 2-0 up at home to Brighton and they get a late fucking goal, you know, a consolation goal in the last minute of injury time, you go, yeah, it was handy enough, but it was a big 3 points for Liverpool. And the fact that teams around us lost and kind of beat each other in some circumstances was great. How much encouragement did Liverpool take from the City and Arsenal results? Because I look at Liverpool and I don't think we're the finished article, and I agree with you. You said it earlier. I don't think we are, right? I think there's more for us to come. I definitely think there's more to come from us, and I don't want this to come across as being a fucking dickhead towards City and Arsenal. But I look at City and I think to myself, they're massively missing Rodri and De Bruyne, and they just look a bit soft to me. To be fair, right? They look a bit soft, and when I look at Arsenal, I think Arteta's making stuff up to try mass something, and then they get beaten there yesterday. No, but what I mean is they get beaten.
Like him.
No, they get beaten there yesterday. And you look at the team he puts out, and then it's all being pinned on. Odegaard isn't in, and Calafiori isn't in, and you're like, they might have gears to go up, but I feel like they're not stalling. Maybe I'm going a bit early on this, but they feel to me like there could be more problems there. You know, I can see more problems there than I can see more progression, if you get me. And maybe that's just me being Liverpool. But how much do we take out of these games? Because I think we should take an awful lot out of these results of the weekend.
Yeah, I think we really should. If this was back when Klopp was here, this would be pinnacle sort of stuff. You get a march on City and you have to go, because this was back, you're getting 90 odd points in a league campaign, so every defeat was catastrophic nearly. Now, we've dropped off over the last few years, and Arsenal, I think, are in that top gear. I don't think they have another gear to go up. They don't do the 90 points. They don't do the, can't afford a defeat and still be chasing it. Like, so they don't have the minerals, and that sounds like a petty dig. Until they prove that they don't have it. And I think this is the max for them. Like, they went on about all these injuries last week, and they had a few injuries in the game. As Emma, I think, said earlier, we had injuries Do you know what I mean? Yesterday, we get on with it. We play. It's a killer when it happens. We had the year after we won the league where we lost all our players and had centre mids playing all over the shop and Nat Phillips and Reece Williams playing at the back. And we got no fucking sympathy for that. So I don't give Arsenal any sympathy for having a few injuries. The only reason they were able to compete, in my opinion, to an extent with City, is because they got fuck all injuries over the last couple of years. They had a set squad all the time. They went out and they played and they won their games. They never, to me, felt, and hindsight's great, but they never felt like they were able to win it. I never got the impression that they could have overtaken City in the chases they were in. We had to do it once. We missed out 3 times or twice, really close, by a point in the high 90s. I'm not saying this team knows what it needs because it's a different manager and a lot of the players are new, but there's still players in there that know what it takes and have the muscle memory of doing this. So we get them little weekends where you get the win and they lose. You just have to hope you keep building on it because it's not going to be season defining. The year we won the league, early on, it felt like they were season defining because we were steaming ahead. We were getting the Villa result. Remember the 2-1 against Villa where we
around this time of the season.
The exact same day as the Brighton game.
Yeah, and City were losing, but that felt because that was the peak time when I was saying when you couldn't afford defeats. That felt like we were a fucking runaway train at that stage. This is different for Liverpool, but it's still big. It's still key. It's still vital that you capitalise when they lose. I'm seeing all the Arsenal shite online where they're only looking at City, and let them do that. Let them look at City. Liverpool just keep on motoring and just hope that the likes of Mo Salah, the Virgil van Dijks, the Trent Alexander-Arnolds, the Alisson Beckers, all these people who've been there, who've done it, Curtis Jones, we've got a squad of players that are quite experienced and we can just keep going with them as much as we can.
Is there anybody in this squad that hasn't won something for Liverpool?
Well, they've all won something, have they? Well, except for Chiesa.
Yeah, but everyone else has won something, and a lot of them have won the league.
Exactly, and they've been to finals, and
I think you can guarantee if Arsenal want to look at City, that's fine. I can guarantee a City are looking at Liverpool.
Yeah,
100%.
City know how this fucking goes. Like, that's not me telling you Liverpool just run away with it, but City know. No. Do you know the game here? Do you know the sort of way?
We know more than most, so I don't think we ever went more than 2 seasons toe to toe with City. We always had a bit of a drop off. Arsenal have gone the last 2 seasons. I won't say toe to toe, but they were kind of the biggest kind of rivals to the league. That takes its toll. Like somebody said there, they had a good injury list. You have to kind of I'm not going to say you decline, but you need to nearly take a breath and you need to regroup. And this just feels like what happened to us when we used to go against City. You'd go 2 seasons against them and then you'd have a couple of injuries or you'd need to regroup. And I think United finished second one of the seasons that we dropped off. And like this is what's happened. To me, this is what's happening to Arsenal now. And I think Arteta needs to win something this season or else questions need to be asked. Like he's won Talkin Kop.
You're muted, Sean.
I think he's getting away with it that he's won football.
And there are questions beginning to be asked. Like, I think he needs to win a Champions League or the league. An FA Cup or a League Cup's not going to do it. Definitely questions need to be asked. Has he taken them as far as he can take them?
But you'll only know that at the end of the season, because I honestly made Arsenal heavy enough favourites for the league when City lost Rodri. Honest to God, I did, because I thought the squad Arsenal had, where Liverpool are, with regards to a new manager and stuff. I just thought Arsenal, with what they got last season, could look and go, right, we're going to be the ones to take huge advantage of what's going on with City. But I'm going to try to get Shawnee unmuted because he has himself muted, but we're going to try to get him unmuted here. The thing, go on, I'll ask you and Shawnee. Is we talk about
just before we move, going back to what Emma said there about people being like Arteta being under like scrutiny if he doesn't win it. It's not got to do with fans or perception. It's got to do with the players in the squad. I think if you look at back at Klopp's reign, that Champions League win. If we don't win that, if we don't win that August pot, we don't win another thing. You just don't. It's like Potch's Spurs. They go close twice and they finish third in the 2-horse race. It's so fucking difficult to get players to buy into something where that level of intensity is required over a long period of time. If there's nothing, if there's no carrot at the end of the road,
If you dangle the carrot, you have to get the carrot.
And that's what happens because what happens is there might be a few egos in the squad going, we're at the fucking doing everything here, and he probably screwed us out a couple of times here, and then that's when players will start to turn. So players turn on a manager before fans ever do. That just happens naturally in football. You see now with Poch, he ran the bollocks out of Spurs for a few years. They won nothing, and the players just couldn't go to the well anymore, so they gave up. They said, fuck this. That's what will happen at Arsenal. That's exactly what will happen. And I totally agree with you. An FA Cup won't get it done. That's why you need to take them cup competitions a little bit more serious if you're a new budding manager coming through. Because if you actually look at the first title Mourinho wins in England, it's a Carling Cup against Liverpool. If you look at the first title Guardiola wins in England, it's a Carling Cup, Carabao Cup for City. And that is always the plan because it's kind of saying, we'll build on this and we'll move forward. Now, in fairness, fucking Klopp went big and got the Champions League. But that was the impetus to go then next year and go, bang, we'll go and win the league then next year. Because if you don't... Remember that when the Monday before the Tuesday, Company bangs one in 40 yards out and you're like, for fuck's sake. And then we go and beat Barcelona 4-0 the following night. Like, that's how football works. And I think that's what's going against Arsenal. But at the same time, I just think Arsenal and City are the antithesis of each other in this race. City's heart I question their heart, and I even heard Kyle Walker talking about needing the heart to do it. I think they're heavily relying on Haaland, and they have a big fucking elephant in the room as well, which they might pretend is not bothering. But you bet your bottom dollar it is. They did look at who they signed in the summer. They bought a fella from Girona who they already own, and they only got Gundogan back, who was there a few years ago. Like, they're having to sell that to players now as well. And I just think Arsenal are the opposite way. It's 10 games in and it's frenzied. And like you said, I heard you saying it on the show the other night, it's knife edge and it's just overly dramatic. They've been overly dramatic for the longest time. Like, I think that's where I just feel like Slot's playing a blind and Virgil midweek in on an interview saying, "Well, just relax and taking it one game at a time," and that's the cliche.
But I think that's a great point because I think like I always say it. I always look at Christmas, around Paddy's Day, and that's where you really know where you are running into this running. I think Liverpool need to take this in little groups of games, little targets. What are we targeting off Leverkusen and Villa? What are we targeting off those three games with City, Madrid, and at home that week? What are we looking to get out of these? And I suppose instead of making it like, oh, the next 8 games for Liverpool, if they're looking at 2 or 3 games, I think it actually focuses on A, what they want to achieve in these games, but B, how they want to progress. And if you can get little progressions in every game, it'll keep yourself going.
Yeah, I don't normally feel like you can make. I don't normally feel like January window is something where you can do something that completely changes your season. But I actually think that January window is going to be fucking huge now. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
Because I think Arsenal need to find the funds to go out and buy a striker.
Yeah.
And City are going to need to do something to plug the hole that Rodri's leaving because the safety blanket is gone. You can just tell they got bullied yesterday at Bournemouth when I watched. They were ran all over, and I think Liverpool have an opportunity to probably go back to someone like Azil Mendy and go, fucking come on, but because it can a January signing can spark the fans. It can do that, and it can give you that little bit of fucking pushing it. I genuinely think that this January window is going to be huge.
It's not about you.
I genuinely, and I fucking normally hate it. I hate all the transfer bollocks, but I do feel like there's an opportunity for someone to get a leg up here in January.
I agree with you. I think out of those three clubs, I think all of them should be looking in January for different reasons. I think Arsenal should be looking. I think you're right. Arsenal should be looking at a striker, but they're hard to get in January. That's the only thing. I think Zubimendi is interesting because I think City might look at him, with regards to the Rodri, the whole Rodri's left. And I think Liverpool might go back and look at him. They might do because they haven't been good, so obviously that since he didn't join Liverpool. And I think if Liverpool are flying high and they go to him and go, listen, like you said, get on board here, and it means you have another option in midfield, and you're dropping lads in and out. And even if you're giving those three lads that are there, they're your main three, you're giving them a chance to be like at their prime level every single week. Even if they have to start every game, they're coming off on 60. You're cutting that work rate by 30-40%. Do you know what I mean? 30%, it's not 40%. Stop making tough stuff up, Gav. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just gives them another option to keep us primed as it goes. But I think little targets over 1 or 2 games to progress how we're playing while still getting results. I think Liverpool, I said it, Liverpool should be looking at this as it's just great crack. Right? And they're over there having a fucking meltdown. They're over there with all these charges against them. We have a new manager and we're having the fucking best time. Now, when it gets down to the crunch, we don't want to be that team that, we had a great time. We want to keep the pressure off ourselves. I think that's only fair on a new manager and stuff. But I think we have the potential to have the biggest momentum out of them all. And I really mean that. I think if we get momentum behind us, I think nothing is like Liverpool when you put momentum behind Liverpool. I really, really don't.
The worry with the January window for me is that I think United are going to be scattergunning all over the shop with Amorim coming in there, and they'll be looking to spend. I mean, he's going to be looking for dough to fix that squad, and I think they might be ones. You don't want them sniffing around players and driving prices up and shit like that.
They fucked Keith with
money.
With money.
Yeah, I know, but will there be some sort of wrangle that they get around? You know, you hear so much shit that they're getting
the talk was that Ten Hag was going to be just given as long as they could, because sacking up now has hamstrung them in January, meaning they can't spend a penny. I think United are going to be doing. I don't want to go off because whatever about United are going to be shopping around doing loans again in January. I guarantee you.
Yeah, because a lad we speak to, and Sean, he'll back us up, United fan, and he tell you as it is, and he said, I said to him, look, I said, they're being linked with about 8 players there I've seen in the last 4 days, and he goes, and what are they fucking buying them with? Because they don't have it. He said, the only way United can get money now, he said, they have to strip that squad and get the PSR down. He said, the PSR is fucking close. He said, I'm telling you now, it's close. So you can't really go and do stuff. But I think you're right, Sean. I think 1 or 2 loans. But he's in there. And we'll see what happens with him. Did they only give him a 2-year deal?
No, I don't think so, do they?
No, it's 3 years. 3 years deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And head coach.
Instead of manager. Yeah, but that's
no different than what Slot's doing.
No, yeah, it's just a wording for me. Right, we better go. We're well over an hour. I think we're just an hour and 15. Really enjoyed that. Covered loads. Emma, anything else before we go?
No, all good.
Good stuff. Your kitchen is lovely.
It's like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Show off bastard.
Anything else before you go?
No, all good. Yeah, nothing exciting or interesting.
Okay, good stuff. Shawnee, anything else before we go?
That's not Emmett's kitchen. That's a green screen. He's still up in the car.
Now that he moves around, they actually does look like it's a green screen.
See the fuzz around him. Over and over the oven there.
All good. I think we kept their monetization this week, so that's another W in the bag.
God knows, Shawnee. God fucking knows. As I said before, if we're demonetized every week, so what? We're having a nice time.
We're having a good time.
Yeah, we're having a nice time.
I just wanted to apologise for all the wet the beds in the chat about the sound.
Oh, yeah. But you did tell them 6 minutes and 40 seconds in to go fuck yourself, so in fairness, they probably listened or unsubscribed or, I don't know, sent a strongly worded email.
Which I think is much for muchness, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a greeting in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you see, that's the thing with, like, you said cunt loud last week, right? But the thing is,
you're at the now. You're at
it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, right, that word doesn't mean in Ireland what it means everywhere else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you like someone, you go, he's some cunt, isn't he? And then, like,
Right,
but it's
yeah.
it's a show of
That's cunt.
affection, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, it is a
It's
term of endearment.
yeah, term of endearment, yeah.
It's like Ireland is the only country where your response could be someone "fuck off," and actually it's
You're saying, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if someone says to you, will you do that? I will, yeah. Which means I definitely won't.
Really me bollocks.
So so don't be no panic. Anyway, it's been lovely. Don't forget to check out Football Prizes. Their latest one is up there. It's running until next Tuesday. Loads and loads of instant prizes, so it's in the description. Our charities are in the descriptions as well. And also Phil's one for the Laura Lynn Hospice. So if you want to donate any of them, you can. If you want to take the link and share it amongst your family, friends, colleagues, yeah, you can. You can do that as well. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. For a member show where we just talk whatever we want for 30 minutes. We will be back tomorrow night looking back on the weekend's football, and then we'll be into looking at the Leverkusen game on Tuesday night. We play Wednesday, don't we, against Leverkusen? I always get
Tuesday.
this. Is it Tuesday we play? All right,
Yeah,
we're back on
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday night. I always get this mixed up. We'll be back on Tuesday night, then we'll reaction to Leverkusen, and then we'll start looking forward to the weekend and stuff like that. Villa, yeah, Saturday night. That's it. Thanks to Keith, thanks to Emma, thanks to Shani, thanks to everyone in the chat. Hit like, subscribe, comment, become a member, do whatever you want. That's been the Talkin Kop. Over and out.